Ready? Here we go. Well, hello, everybody. Hello. Hey, I got a very special guest here tonight, but I want to give you guys a little bit of backstory. So just so everybody knows, I better turn off my other one or there you go. I have the YouTube stream on my other screen on my computer. So it would give me some back noise, but anyway. So I went down to Georgia, as everybody knows, and I spoke at the Next Step convention. And one of the days that I was there, I shared the stage with this young lady, and she proved to be this badass off-grid, ass kicker. And I got to meet her husband, Ryan, behind her. Yep. And you guys notice the hat? We have some shit in common. So, and it was interesting, as we shared the stage and to listen to, one of the things I found fascinating was how they go about off-grid living versus how we go about off-grid living, right? Because to me, it's just interesting. And so I want to go kind of dive into that a little bit and all that. But before we do that, I would like to real quick just tell me about you guys and your story and your castle and what you guys are doing and why'd you get here, and just give us the scoop.
Okay. We were kind of, I don't even know where to start.
Let's go way back.
Okay. Well, I was in the military, in the Air Force. And you kind of realize that you're not your own person in the military. You're told what to do, what to wear, how your hair is,
where to
live, when you're going to leave your family constantly. So after the military, we wanted to travel.
Well, we kind of just wanted to have a life of our own, right? We chose travel because we figured at that point we wanted to go explore and figure out where we're going to put our roots down. But it's funny because he was actually in the military and I was over here kind of anti-military. Maybe anti-military, like the men in the military, but anti-government. And I was like, I can't believe working for the government and this and that, and we were just going down this rabbit hole about all of the ways that our country was doing it wrong, and so we actually picked up when we wanted to start traveling because I was an America hater for a little while. I was like, oh, America's this country sucks and blah blah blah. So we started traveling and we actually picked up and wanted to take our kids. Our kids were 2 and 5 at the time. And we wanted to take them to different countries. And we thought we were going to go find this perfect country of some place in the world that was doing it better than we were. And they had better food and they didn't force vaccines on their kids and they didn't medicate their society and they did all the things. Right. And what we realized in our travels, it's really funny. We took our kids to about 15 different countries. And we realized that we actually have it really good in this country. We came back to the States and we're so grateful to be here, so grateful to live, so grateful to be a citizen of the United States of America.
Yeah. Wake up call. You don't realize what you have until it's already gone or the grass is greener on the other side. And then that kind of opened our eyes. So then
it's not like we're, obviously we have problems in our country, but no matter where you go, it's a global issue. There's problems in every country. And we actually figured that we needed to come back to the United States where we had more power, maybe, if that's the right word.
More of a voice,
more of an ability to make an impact when we were living down in South America. So the first time we ever lived off grid, we bought acreage down in Chile, actually in the south of Chile, about 6 hours south of Santiago. And we got some land and we started doing some off-grid living up there. That was our first time where we were experimenting with gray water systems and solar and homesteading and chickens and permaculture. And we realized that there was a lot of stuff in that country that we were this doesn't feel right. This doesn't sit right. And we didn't have the voice to be able to speak up. We didn't have the capacity to be able to speak up in a lot of ways because we're foreigners there.
Right.
So
you're a guest in someone else's house. You can't go start live. So
right. So we kind of made our way back to the States, but we still weren't done traveling. So we did explore quite a bit more into more countries. And the more that we traveled, the more that we got to see how different people live all over the world. Right. And that's kind of we would go travel and he would be checking out the places. He's oh, that's how they do this. And that's how they do this. And just taking notes, about the ways that different people would live. And we went to stay in lots of off-grid places and so we knew we eventually wanted to live off-grid and build our own off-grid home of some sort. And then we landed here in Georgia because all the stuff happened with the pandemic and all that stuff. And we were all right, it's time. We need to put our roots down and start our homestead. So that's how we ended up here.
Yeah, so pretty cool. So it was just kind of in your blood to be off-grid? Kind of in your blood to do it?
I think so.
Yeah, I like to know how things work and be in control of your own destiny, I guess it feels like. Or like, I don't know, we just had a huge storm and everyone's without power and we're over here like, hey guys, yeah, we're good.
We kayaked down our little creek. Everyone's like, we don't have any power. Everyone's freaking out. And we're like, we're gonna go take a kayak ride.
Just another day.
Yeah, I watched that video. It was cracking me up. You guys go. I really liked you guys going under that road or that bridge. That was as cool as can be. I have to tell you.
That was fun.
So fun. So
Yeah, it was cool. So I want to get back to the off-grid stuff real quick, but you guys are building a castle. Tell us about the castle.
And how long?
Yep. So it is in the background. We're using two. The idea got pieced together. I'm certified to build with Hempcrete. At the same time, we were looking for unique structures. We just wanted something out of the norm.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually purchased two 18-foot grain silos. So they're 18 feet by 21 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't really have a plan for them yet. And then I went and did the Hempcrete stuff. And then this kind of plan started forming where we were going to take the grain silos and make them the turrets of a castle and then connect everything with Hempcrete. And that plan has just kind of developed. I've made countless blueprint stuff, like just putting the design around. And so like I said, we were going just for something unique, something more sustainable.
Yeah, and I think castle too, not necessarily castle as in like this massive, huge structure, even though it will be pretty big considering where we are living right now. But really more if you picture the idea of just like protection. Like that's really the goal that we had in mind when we thought of like castle. We thought of castle, drawbridge. We've even think we're going to do a moat around it, everything. Like like just more of like this ideal of like building something that like is like a little protection for us and also just like a kind of like a legacy for our children because they're being a part of it, like the whole entire process, even from like designs and everything, like it's all built in with the idea of like educating our children around how to be able to do stuff like this for the future too, for them as well.
So Ryan, I'm curious, when you talked about the blueprints changing, you looked at your beautiful bride. How come? Is she the one that causes you to change the plans?
Sometimes.
I just ridiculous. It was more of a castle. I had like a courtyard in the middle of the structure, and I started doing like logistics, like with roof lines and how much hemp I was going to need and everything. And then it just felt a little excessive. So we've always been more minimalistic. For a long time, we've just tried to keep like less. So I don't know. It just seemed, it was just a lot. So it's been changing. And then, I'm milling all my own post and beams. I'm doing post and beam frame. I have a mill, so I'm milling all my own wood. So then even to like, so the process doesn't take another 5 years. I'm like using already dried wood on the property. But that was kind of a thing with going a lot bigger is that I'm like, okay, well now I have to go cut down trees. Then I got to wait a year for them to cure. And then I have to mill them. And then all of a sudden the project was like a 5-year timeline. So I was like, I cut it back a little. It's more reasonable. Yeah. So that was kind of
we've kind of shortened it. So we don't need to have these extra beams that we were going to have. Which...
So where'd you learn to do all that work? Because, I've been building my whole life and I built my own house. But building inside of a round structure, that takes some understanding of mathematics.
That's been a whole new level. Yeah. I grew up, my dad's kind of a handyman. And then my stepdad does carpentry and custom like kitchens and stuff. So I've always kind of grown up with that. I don't know. And then, like I said, I just kind of picking things up along the way. Every time I like meet somebody that knows, I always try to meet somebody that knows more than I do. Because I would just pick their brain. When we were in South America, we were with a couple and he was an electrician from California and we rewired every single cabin. So I was just like constantly like every day, like, hey, what are we doing today? What are we wiring today? Like, I want to learn more. So it's just that one, I don't know. It's so funny because I hated school, but then after school, learning the things that I want to learn, I have such a desire. Like I said, anytime I meet anyone, I just try to, I don't know, see what they know and try to gain more knowledge.
Yeah. So you got blueprints you're following, or are you just winging it?
Yeah, I did a what's it called? 3D home. There was some SketchUp on the computer that I did. So
That's how I did my house with SketchUp.
nice. So yeah, that's what we did. And then I'm just I'm going off that as a rough draft and then kind of making it work as I go.
And I wanted to add too that like what Ryan does at night is he goes on and he watches like videos and stuff too. Sometimes, not for everything, but like when he was doing the stairs, he watched a couple YouTube videos. He ordered a few books that were all about how to build circular stairs. And then for like literally for like a week or two, like he was like learning. And then he was like, all right, time to put it into action. And then he'd come up here and then he'd draw it out. And like, so it's literally a matter of like learning and doing. And I feel like the best way to learn is like to do. And so it's like taking that action, I think, is like really helpful when sometimes you might make mistakes, but that's how we learn. That's a part of
that's
it.
And YouTube is a great resource for stuff. I have watched quite a different array of things and learned. There isn't a whole lot on like finishing up a grain bin or even circular structures on YouTube. So a lot of like trial and error and a lot of like math. So
yeah, I built a set of curved stairs on the back of my house with a twirly slide that comes off of it.
Oh,
and
awesome.
It took me a bit to figure out how to make those things. Wood don't bend that well, and it took me a little bit to figure out string lines and all that craziness. So I admire your craftsmanship, Ryan. I want you to know that, because I understand what it takes to accomplish that kind of stuff. That ain't easy.
Thank you. Yeah.
So that's awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about what off-grid living means to you guys, because you guys are off-grid living, but what's that mean?
Well, I think that I like the term that we talked about at Next Steps tag, which is more like off matrix, right? So it's like we really do, off grid. I think that a lot of people just consider if you're not relying on public utilities such as your electricity or your water or your waste and all that stuff like that, really people consider, okay, cool, you're off grid. We wanted to take it steps further than that because we really want to go for full self-sufficiency out here, which is why we got the mill and which was why we can, Ryan is actually also, he's also learned blacksmithing randomly. Like he's like, one day he's like, I want to make my own knife.
Well, the idea is to like anything that I can or dream up, I want to be able to like eventually create that stuff here. So, and off grid. Yeah, I like the off matrix. We just wanted to be, I don't know, I guess we wanted to kind of go back, like back in the day, like way back, early America, nobody, like you didn't have all these conveniences to rely on. Everyone was doing it on their own. When they were moving out west, they were bringing the tools, making the tools, building their house with nothing. And that's kind of what, while we've gone more modern with it because of the mill and all that stuff, like it's still that same concept where I just want to be able to do the things I want to do or build the things I want to build on the property and not need to rely on other people.
Self-reliance.
Yeah. This is a great quip. Pete the Squatchy, who is a buddy of mine, refers to you guys as true grit. I think that's awesome. So you guys were talking about off grid. You and I were when we were up on stage talking a little bit about it. And you guys go at it differently in that, like, you guys have a solar system for your washing machine. Like in my world, I have one big one that runs everything. So I'd like to hear more about how you guys tackled the off-grid, not necessarily off-matrix, but the off-grid question.
Yeah, we started out with a few panels, and I found some good deal on some used batteries, and I set that up, and I was super excited. And then I left to Texas to do the build, the Hempcrete. And then, of course, the used batteries went bad.
Everything went bad when
Louise had batteries, so she had power during the day and then nothing at night.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when I got back, we decided to upgrade. So we went to lithium.
In a simpler setup.
Yeah, a simpler setup. So we ended up upgrading that, and then I found used panels, and I ended up purchasing like a full pallet. I think I purchased like 40 used panels, and it cost me about the same as I bought 6 brand new ones for. Yeah. And as I've been testing the used panels, they're actually outperforming the new ones I bought, which is surprising. So I think that's a good way to afford the panels is to, and then, so our garage, we're not like we're on 26 acres, so everything's pretty far apart. Like our washing machine's in the garage. Because we're living in an RV, I think that was a big driver for doing multiple systems everywhere. So that way in our garage, we have a system for our washer, a system for extra fridge, a small system for
your power tools,
deep freezer, and then a system for my power tools. So like I have 4 systems in the garage, but what that does is kind of, I don't know, it gives us that redundancy. So if go down or something happens out of the norm, I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I'll just run an extension cord over to the washing machine because I only use that once in a while. And those systems to set up, because I already had the panels, I think it was, let's say $1,000, $750 to $1,000.
Yeah.
For just like 1,000-watt inverter, a 200 amp hour battery, a small charge controller, and then I had the panels. So I guess for us, it was cost effective too to break it up into individual units. And it seems more, I guess if people are going at it, a lot of people do think you have to go all in and build these systems. And I kind of like showing people like, hey, you know, like you can be off grid, just put your deep freezer on like its own system, put this on its own system, and then like start chipping away at it. Because you can do it kind of like as you go. You don't need like that lump sum of money. You don't need that lump sum of like panels and batteries and all that stuff. So I kind of liked that aspect of it.
I think this is a great thing to talk about, bud, because, when I did it, I didn't know any better. And so, I just didn't, you don't know what you don't know. And I didn't know anything about it. So, I started small too, but then very quickly just kept building the same system instead of alternative systems. But I think I get your point in that the redundancy of there's some strength in that. And there's some safety in that. I like that a whole lot, and I think a lot of people, I get a lot of questions about that kind of stuff. Well, what if I don't have, like my system cost me $53,000 and I did all the work myself. Yeah. And I built all the mounts, I wired it all, I did it all. And so it's expensive. And a lot of people say, well, how do you do it? But I think this is a super good message. We got a question for you here. So K-Bach wants to know, what's the average size of your mini solar systems?
So on like my fridge unit, I'm running 2 280 watt panels, a 200 amp hour battery, maybe a 20 amp. I might have used a 40 amp charge controller just in case I wanted to add more, and a 1,000-watt inverter. So those are the mini systems.
Yeah. You see, another question says, do you plan to keep your power sources separate when you move into your castle?
Yes, I actually do. The castle will be run by 4. I use all EcoFlow stuff. EcoFlow Delta Pros, there's 3,600 watts output, and they have a 30 amp plug for RVs. So I'll run that 30 amp plug into, like, I'll break it up. I'm pretty much going to have 4 of those running everything.
For running everything is in the castle.
Right. So like there's going to be one Delta Pro setup for one side, like one grain bin. There'll be a Pro for the kitchen, one Delta Pro for two rooms, and one Delta Pro for another 2 rooms. And then, like I said, I'll run that 30 amp to a small little, just 2 breaker box with 2 15 amp breakers in it, and then wire everything to that.
So that was the one thing that I was really excited about when he left for Texas to go, for weeks. And then all the stuff went wrong with the solar, and we had a big storm and we flooded, and every little thing went wrong. When he came back, that's when he was like, let's get an EcoFlow, because everything is kind of built into, it's like the battery and the charge controller and the inverter. It's all like, it's like one system. So right now in our camper where we're currently living while we build, we have an EcoFlow system that we're running. All the smaller systems that he was talking about in our garage and like other small setups that we have are all ran by like, traditional solar. So we actually have a little bit of both. But the castle, we decided we're going to run completely on the EcoFlow, because I like the fact that when I don't know all the stuff that he's talking about, when he's over here saying, oh, this work, I'm just like I'm checked out. I'm like,
EcoFlow does have like a power wall unit that is a bigger unit to run, where I probably could run everything on one. But kind of going back to I like the I don't know. I just like the redundancy.
Yeah, like the backup on backup, and then but I don't know. I think, like I was saying, the EcoFlow makes it easy for other people to be able to operate and utilize, and something goes wrong, it's just I don't know.
Or any of the new, they're really
easier.
making a lot. Those solar generators are kind of changing the game and making it a whole lot easier for people.
Super
because
simple.
It's really almost plug and play. Like you plug the panels in and then you're good to go.
Yeah. Hey, I've got a guy who made a statement in here now. Just a little bit of background. This guy is a contractor by trade. Okay. So I want you to know this before I read. His comment says, I think it's a great idea to run solar the way you're running it.
Nice.
Thank you.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's good to hear.
Of a contractor.
Yeah. So I got a question for you, young lady. So when you talked about him going to Texas and everything went wrong, tell me about that experience being by yourself and everything going wrong. Because B can relate.
Yeah.
B, I hear you. I feel you. No, it was one of those things where he was going off to that was when he was getting certified to build with hemp, and that was going to be, so I we knew it was going to happen, but I think it was an eye opener for me for sure, because it was like one thing that I told him. I said, look, if anything gets really crazy and it comes between me and you, like, you have to let me be the one to go, because we can't live out here without you. The kids need you. That was a conversation when he got back, and he's like, stop being crazy. That's gonna happen. But I don't know. I mean, like, my personality is just kind of one of those personalities where you just, every single day, it's like you just take it a day at a time. It was kind of crazy. And I literally went to the greenhouse at one point and I just like cried, because I was like, I don't know what to do anymore. But it's one of those things that, like, what you talk about, it's like, we didn't choose this life because we thought it was going to be easy. Like, we took this path knowing that we were signing up for, maybe not like hard, because that's not really the right word that I want to use. I don't really know the word that I want to use, but like, we just, like, it was something that I found strength within me to continue going. At this point, back then when he left too, we were still collecting water from our creek. And the way that we were getting it was filling it up in these big, 55-gallon drums. And I was going down. I had an RV water pump that was going into the creek. I didn't know a lot of this stuff, right? So this is like, I feel so stupid saying this sometimes. Like, it feels so silly. But there's like this long end that you put, and then there's like a short end. And for some reason, I put the wrong end into the water. The long end I put in. So I put the long end into the water where it had to like go through.
The pump was having a hard time pulling because she put the long, it was just little things.
But it was a little thing that I didn't know. And then I fried the pump, and I'm sitting here and I'm on the phone with him and I'm like, I don't understand. It's not coming. And he's like, well, turn it off. And I was like, what? And I have to run up and turn it off. And then he's like, why didn't you put it in the other end? And I was like, guys, I didn't know. I didn't know I was supposed to do that. So I fried the pump. By the time I got the water up to the camper, like half of the water had fallen out because I'm on the tractor, and I guess I wasn't supposed to fill it all the way up, because every single time it hit a bump, it like splashes off the side. It's just like stuff like that. Like, you learn as you go, and that's just a part of it, right? By the time he got back, I felt like, I was like, I mean, I'm glad you're home, but like, I think I finally got the hang of it. So I think it just brings the strength that, like, having him here, it's like some of the stuff that he does for us, which I'm so grateful for, this masculine man in my life that does all this stuff. When he was gone, it was like an eye opener, but it was also something that like kind of forced this strength in me that had to come out for the girls. Like, I had to be here for our kids, and I had to make sure we had water, because I was like, look, we need a drink. We need to flush our toilet. So, but yeah, that's the best thing about this off-grid life, is like being able to prove to yourself that you can do hard things. Like, you can do it, and you're literally choosing to do it. So when it comes up, you have to stare at it in the face and be like, this is what I'm here for. This is what I'm here for. And I'm going to maybe cry in the greenhouse a little bit, but after I'm done with that sob story, I'm going to go and I'm going to take care of my stuff. And so it felt good. It felt good to know that we survived.
Do you relate to that?
Yes.
How do you relate to that?
Yes. I remember the first time the power went out, and I was like, I don't understand. Yeah. He's like, well, it's a good thing you went out to the powerhouse and checked the circuits, because they were all off. They don't charge when they're all off.
Yeah. Yeah. My batteries have breakers in them.
Breakers. Yes.
And so if it gets to a certain point, it'll kick the breakers and that. But what I think is funny, what she was saying in reference to you, I travel a lot, because I speak a lot.
That's when I get the flat tires, and that's when the flood comes, and that's when the
always
the pipe freezes, and
yeah.
Yep, but I think it's amazing, and I think that what you said right there was so powerful. Of that we chose this, and you got to stand and face it.
Yep.
I mean, I think that can relate to so many things, right, in this journey for freedom, and I think that's awesome. Let me. I've got so many more comments in here that they're trying to ask you questions. It says, I'm building a log home this year from the trees on my property. I'm in the process of building the log processing area. So, what kind of Ryan? What kind of mill you got, and how do you do it?
I have a TMG mill, nothing fancy. I just, yeah, I have kind of like a area where I stack my logs. I haven't had to dry out many logs. We have a lot of woods on our property, and I've mainly used logs that have already been down. Like, we've been out here for a year and a half, so I know these logs have been down for at least a year, kind of drying naturally. So I'll just stack them up and then cut them, and then yeah, I mean, I don't have a special process that I do. It's just kind of.
Yeah, I got another one here. So, Duroc Tiles wants to know around how much did the solar system for your fridge cost?
Like I said, about $750 for the battery, inverter, charge controller, and then I had the panels. So just depending. So about $750 to $1,000, I'd say you could probably get a system to run like a fridge or a deep freezer or a
Yeah,
washer.
well, and I'll tell everybody too, the price of lithium's coming down fast.
Mhm.
You know, what we paid for lithium 3 years ago, I could get the same amount for half today.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I spent $25,000 3 years ago, and that same amount of batteries would cost me 12 grand today.
Dang.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Just absolutely crazy. Let me see what else we got here. Tiger joined us. Hello. So, you know, I was watching one of your videos a while back, and you were talking about how you were the creative one, and Ryan just kind of tries to build what you want. I don't know if I said that right. Would that be an accurate statement?
Pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Actually, no, for this castle, this has been this has been his vision for so many things. But for other stuff, yes, that's pretty accurate.
Yes. Hey, Uncle Bodie's Homestead, which is the contractor I was telling you guys about, said be sure to debark the logs as soon as possible. It'll help them dry quicker.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, super, super cool. Hey, so I got another thing I want to talk about, and we're going to get. Let me back up real quick. I want to learn a little bit more about your hemp building. You went down, got certified. So tell me a little more about that process, because I know everyone will be interested in that.
So the process of hemp, it starts out with Hempcrete. It's just like a woody, fibrous material. You mix that with lime, water, and a mineral binder.
The Hempcrete is like the waste part, right?
The Hempcrete is the woody inside part of the stalk.
That mostly doesn't get used in like.
Yeah, they use a lot of the fiber. The fiber goes in to make clothing. The sawdust from the process kind of goes to make hemp plastics, and then the woody fiber inside goes either to building materials or animal bedding. I've seen it used for a lot of different stuff like that. So yeah, Hempcrete, lime, hydrated lime, water, and a mineral binder, and you mix that up, a certain ratio. You mix that up, and then you kind of put forms on the wall, plywood forms. Once you frame your wall up, put the plywood forms, and then you just pour it in and you tamp it down. You don't want to over tamp, because you do want a little, you still want some air. You want it to breathe. You don't want to like smash it, because then it loses some of its qualities. But yeah, it's a unique material. You can move the forms right away. So as soon as you fill up that space, you can take the forms off, move it, and then keep going. It's unlike any other building material I've used. I mean, we had someone in there, because we were with a lot of people. Some had construction background or building experience and some not, but somebody like took a chunk out of a wall with a ladder, like getting it out. So this big chunk in our like freshly done wall, and we literally like took a handful of hemp and you pack it in there, and then take a board and you kind of tamp it flat, and it's like fixed, like it binds to itself again. It's also weird because you don't want it to dry slowly. It dries an inch per week, and we did an 8-inch walls, so that's a long dry time.
Yeah.
But every day, like if the sun's beating down on one area, you kind of got to tarp it up because you don't want the sun just beating down on it. And you're out there like watering your house. So like every day we would go out there and like make sure it was moist, so that way the outside didn't dry before the inside. So it's just funny to like to be out there and you just like built this house and you're out there like watering it. And yeah, so then afterwards, then we just did like a lime plaster. And yeah, once it's fully dry, like even for our windows, once it's fully dry, you can cut it with a circular saw. So we cut out a little spot for the window flange to go in. But yeah, it's a really cool material.
And it's fire resistant, mold resistant,
pest resistant,
and it actually exchanges the air from the outside like 2 times a day.
2 times an hour.
2 times an hour?
Yeah.
Oh, 2 times an hour. It it's like a breathable wall. So that part I thought was pretty cool too.
Yeah, well, I think it's cool you guys are building that. And I've got a whole bunch of questions in here. I got 3 lined up right in a row. So the first one is, and we're going back to the off-grid stuff. Would you guys recommend 12 volt, 24 volt, or 48 volt power systems?
Depends what you're doing. We were running I run a 12 volt system on something that doesn't have a lot of draw. So on my fridge and freezers, I just run 12 volt. If I were doing anything over like that, 48 volts probably your ticket. We used a 24 volt system on the RV and that did okay. I like higher voltage, but yeah, like I said, just kind of for me, it just depended on the scope of the project.
Yeah, I would answer it as, I have 300 amp service in my house for my solar system, and mine's all 48 volt because I wanted to be able to weld with it. Literally, all right. So next question is from K-Bonk wants to know what water percentage is the goal with Hempcrete?
Like what, when you're mixing it?
I think so.
Yeah, probably.
Oh man. It's
You have to go back to your notes.
I would have to get the formula. Yeah, it's it goes we weighed everything out, so it goes by pounds. So it was like a certain 7 pounds. It's a good amount of water that goes in there. Like it's a lot of water. I think it was like 7 pounds hemp, maybe around 10 pounds water. I think there's more. No, it's not right. Okay, I can look that up for you and get back to you.
We'll come back to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll come back to, hey, so just so everybody knows, underneath on YouTube, underneath the description, I listed their Facebook page, their Instagram page, their YouTube page, and their website. Right? Just so everybody knows, you can find all of that stuff and go track them down. And you need to go track them down, guys, because at the end of the day, if you can find people out there who are pushing those boundaries to live free, we need more and more and more of that as a community. And it's the littlest things, even just watching a video or subscribing or hitting a button helps them continue on this journey. And so, again, go over there and do that. Okay, so next question is from Miss Skanes Girl. Says, so you can layer it with no problem, and does it need rebar?
It does not need rebar, no. I mean, the framing of the house is enough. And then you can even do up to like, part of the benefit is if you're framing a house, you can do 24-inch. If you're trying to get it within code, which is still, they're working on getting hemp in codes, like more usable,
approved.
I guess. Yeah. So they've done it in a few states, but anyway, no, you don't need rebar. You can go like a 24-inch on center studs, and that's fine. Yes, you can layer it. I think it's like cement. I mean, it is best to, because it has such a long dry time, like if you started a wall and you ran out of material and you got material before it like fully cured, you'd still be fine, because as long as it hasn't fully cured, you can still layer on top of it. So like, wouldn't finish a whole wall that day, and then we just come back the next day, you just wet it just a little bit on the top, and then you just keep adding to it. But no, it does not need rebar. I know people that have done, what's it called? It was like a volcanic stone mesh. It was like an EMF, but that was for EMF. It was like a mesh for EMF protecting.
Yeah.
EMF.
Yeah. Uncle Bodie wants to know, could the material be used to build an outdoor pizza oven?
Yes, I would say so.
Yeah, what's fire resistant? So
Yeah.
if it was like, yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, I'd imagine you'd have to coat it pretty good on the inside, right? Wherever the flame was going to touch would be my guess.
Yeah, the guy that I learned with, his name's Paul River, and he was on the Discovery Channel. He had an episode where they came out and filmed one of his builds.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, because it was TV, he like was telling him it was fire resistant. Well, they're like, well, we want to see it. So they held a torch to the wall. And the guy's like, no, keep going. So they held this torch on there for 30 minutes. And at the end, it was a little burnt, but they brushed it off, and it didn't lose much material. And they touched it like right after they had the torch on it, and it was just like charred. So it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. All right, young lady, here's a question I've been meaning to ask you the whole time. Tell us how important your water is.
Yes. Well, I love you for that, Tag.
Yep.
No. So yeah.
Tell us all about it.
Okay. So what we do out here too is like one of the things about, being prepared for anything, which is what we're, looking to do, is be prepared and be self-sufficient, is like being healthy, right? And taking care of our bodies and taking care of ourselves in the form of like eating good and drinking good water. And so what we drink is we drink Kangen water, which is electrolyzed reduced water, or we say it's living water or structured water or hydrogen rich water. And that's really like the main component of this water that makes it so good for you. And so we drink water. Molecular hydrogen, for those that don't know, is actually an antioxidant. It's a very strong, very effective, and it's also a selective antioxidant. So it goes after really, really harmful free radicals in your body, like hydroxyl radical. And it actually turns that radical, that reactive oxygen species, which is causing all this damage in your body, it turns it into water so it can flush out of your system. And so we have these systems in our home, and they're called Kangen systems. And what they do is they create molecular hydrogen through electrolysis. So through electrolysis of water, we're creating H2. So we get to sip on and drink, hydrogen-rich, antioxidant-rich water all day long. So we get to be really healthy. We get to feel good. I could go on and on about this. It'd be like a whole 30 minutes, so I won't go too deep into it. But one of the things I love about it is because H2 actually donates electrons to the electron transfer chain within the mitochondria, which is where we produce energy. During ATP production, we're like giving our bodies H2, which gives us energy. So like so many people that are just like, oh, I feel sluggish during the day, or I need naps, or I need this, or I need my coffee, or I need, whatever it is they feel like they need. I'm like, you probably just need hydrogen water, dude.
That's how we get all this done here.
That's how we get everything done. People are like, you get so much done in such a short time. I'm like, hydrogen water, Kangen water, hit me up. I got you.
It's basically oxygenating your body as you're drinking it.
Yeah. Like you're basically giving your body, you're helping blood circulate through your body better. You're literally giving the mitochondria what it needs to go through the production of energy, and you're reducing the free radicals in your body, or reducing inflammation, providing neuroprotection for your cells. It's it's like the smallest molecule in the world, but like if you look at antioxidants, and like the molecular weight of molecular hydrogen is 2 Daltons, which is like very, very tiny. So if you look at the molecular weight of like other antioxidants, like vitamin C, for example, has a molecular weight of 176. Glutathione has a molecular weight of like 863. So we have all these antioxidants that are really, really good for us, but a lot of them can't cross the blood-brain barrier. A lot of them can't get really deep into the cells, which we need. A molecular hydrogen, because it has a molecular weight of 2, it gives us like unrestricted access to the central nervous system. It gives us unrestricted access to our cells, and like it's really, really able to help us detoxify, help the blood circulate, help us prevent. It's really preventative, for like, there's all these studies coming out showing the benefits of like, just even if you don't have something that like, because when I started drinking hydrogen rich water, I didn't necessarily have like an ailment or like a concern, but I've always just been proactive and preventative. And so, Merced's watching. Kangen water for the win. Yes. And so I've always just been like into natural preventative health. And so that's what Kangen water was able to do for me. It's like, even though I had some concerns when I started drinking it, like a little bit of concerns, not anything major, but even the little stuff that I had is like, I felt like my energy was just like tenfold, and I felt like I could just accomplish so much more in a day. And I felt really, really good. But then one of the other things I love about it is it provides for us an opportunity for us to be able to do what we're doing. So because we're distributors of this company, Anagic, that allows us to be able to talk about our personal experience with the water and help people be healthy. It also gives us a way to earn an income. And so when he got out of the military, you know, like I said, I was kind of like turning into this like military, like I was like government hater, you know, like that's when my eyes were opening up about all the things going on in the world. And so he didn't stay in for 20 years. He didn't get a retirement. He didn't get like, you know, there's all this stuff that as you become an entrepreneur and you start figuring out like, we're going to go and live our life and we're going to go do whatever we want to do. We want to be free and we want to like live this free life, but we didn't really know how we were going to do it. Right. And so like part of it is like freeing yourself from like a system of being trapped in this financial world where you feel like you have to get up and you have to go work for somebody. And then your life gets dictated by them. They get to tell you when you get to work, when you can have off, how much money you get to make, how, you know, they get to decide all these things for you. It's like, I want to be the creator of my own life. I want to decide what I want to do with my time, how much money I'm going to earn, how much time I'm going to put into my business. So with Anagic, what I really loved, it was able to set ourselves up to where, I mean, we were able to, you know, purchase our land and start building our dream home and start doing all these things because I have a passion for natural and proactive health already. So it was like I would literally be telling people about this stuff for free, like, but I don't have to because this company allows me to earn an income while I do it. And so what I love doing is I love sharing with people about, you know, some people ask me like, oh, I want to be free in all these ways. And I'm like, yeah, go get yourself free by growing your own food. Go get yourself free by, you know, getting your own land and doing a lot of the stuff, but also get yourself a way to earn an income, even though we're out here living off grid. Like some people are like, oh, you know, it's awesome, you know, what you're doing and stuff. But it's like, guess what we needed to be able to build what we have here? We needed money, right? We needed some sort of income. And so it's like this stuff, you know, we bought raw land. None of the stuff was here before we had it. So we needed a way to earn. And so Kangen water has allowed us to be healthy, get our energy back, feel vibrant, and do all this really fun, like just feel good in our lives. And also has provided us with an income to be able to do this. And I feel good because I know I've been able to help other people. So that's literally what I do. I mentor people on how to grow a business and how to share Kangen water with others. And so as I mentor other people, they're able to free themselves up more. And that feels even better to me because it's like, we've done a lot. We've freed ourselves in big ways. I mean, we all have more work that we can be doing, but like, we feel really good with where we are in our life right now. And so for me, it's like, now I want to help more people free themselves.
Yeah, you know, Tambra, who is pretty much every live we do and has been around a long time with us, she says, I'll get a Kangen water system if I can have the energy like she does.
Yes, girl. Yes, girl.
Well, actually, you know, I think this is an important part. So two points. One, if someone wants to find you to talk more about the Kangen water system, is it, well, I mean, I got links to their Instagram, their YouTube, their Facebook. Where would you recommend they get a hold of you about this topic?
Yeah, I would say like Facebook or Instagram is great. We also have a website though, kangenwatercollective.com.
Okay. Let me get that. You keep talking. I'm going to get that link posted. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Tag. You're awesome.
Of course.
Do you want her to say it again?
Yeah. So it's Kangen. Go tell me the address again.
Kangen Water Collective. So Kangen is Kangen, watercollective.com.
Collective.com. All right. You guys keep chatting. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in here real quick. I'm going to find the link because awesome. I just rock like that.
So this your machine takes water takes electricity to run, right?
Yes.
So you have that hooked up to one of your systems. How efficient is it to run on an off-grid system?
It is not bad to run. It's even got like a feature where it automatically shuts off when it's not in use, and it'll kick on and start when you get the water flowing. And I think it's only it's less than 200 watts when it's running, and you're just filling up your bottle of stuff. So it's really not bad, but.
Yeah, you just turn it on just to fill up, and then it turns right back off. So it's not like it's a constant draw. It's just for you know.
So do you use that for your shower water and all your water, your hand washing water, or do you just use that for your drinking water?
We just use the Kangen for the drinking water. We have another shower unit.
Cooking too.
Oh, and cooking, yeah. And cleaning. So there's actually a whole bunch of different selections. You can choose your pH selection, and there's an option there for 2.5, which creates hypochlorous acid, which you can use to clean with. You can use to even spray on plants if you have like an infection. We were able to save an entire crop of melon last year when our tomatoes. Tomatoes took off with the blight. We went out of town and we had someone watching our garden, and we came back. We're like, what happened? And we had to rip all of our tomatoes out. They were way too far gone, but it started spreading on our melons, and I went and took some 2.5 and we sprayed it all over the melons, and it was all gone in like a few days. So we have all these options that you can select whenever you're creating all these different types of waters, but mainly it's for drinking and cleaning, and like there's a beauty selection too for skin. But for our shower, we have another product. It doesn't use electricity. It is ionized water. It's like a hot spring shower, so it releases some minerals from a hot spring that were mined in Japan, which feels really good. So when you get to bathe, and it filters it all out and stuff like that. But for washing our hands and stuff like that, we don't use the ionizer, because I just don't feel like it's super necessary for that. But yeah, so it's mainly drinking and cooking and cleaning, and, you know, helping reduce a lot of the other types of things that we need to purchase. Like we don't have to buy cleaners anymore. We don't have to buy veggie rinse.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have water that we can actually just soak our stuff in. So we can laundry detergent. We don't even have to buy laundry detergent, because when you select the 2.5, which is a hypochlorous acid, the top hose, so there's 2 hoses on the system, and the top hose has like the water that's being concentrated from the cathode, which is the negatively charged plate, and the bottom hose has acidic water, which is being concentrated at the positively charged plate. So when you're creating a 2.5 acidic, then you're creating a super, super high alkaline water out the top hose. And that is so microclustered, it actually cuts with grease and dirt and stains. You can use it as a stain remover. So I don't even have to buy laundry detergent. I can literally just take like a pint of 11.5 and dump it in with regular water into my washing machine, and my clothes are clean, which is crazy. Cause like, if you think about how much money we spend on laundry detergent, but not only that, it's like every single time you buy a laundry detergent, like you're buying more plastic, you're supporting another company that's not great things in the world, because most of those corporations aren't, right? And you're saving yourself money. So of course, oh no, I didn't see that comment. How much does it cost for a Kangen system? It depends on which one you get. So we have ones that range from prices anywhere from $3,000 up to $5,000. And we also have like finance options and plans as well for people. Sorry, my phone's telling me I have 10% battery. Whoops, I should have came up here.
Yeah, so everybody, if you guys, just so you guys know, if these lovely people just disappear, they were not abducted by aliens. they were not. Hey, something else before you leave, because I know you're about out of power, but I talk about the filtering issue, because when I was there, these are the questions that I asked you, you know, how it's not really a filter. How do you deal with because we are constantly messing with filters, constantly.
And hard water.
And all of that. Can you really talk about any of that?
Yeah. So yeah, our systems aren't necessarily, they're not designed for purification. They're designed to ionize the water. So we take, like, I always tell people, like, clean water is really important. That's like step 1. So we want to make sure that we filter. So what we do is we provide pre-filters for anybody that purchases a system from us. So that way you also get pre-filtered water, which, you know, our systems aren't designed to remove things like fluoride. Fluoride's not, it's actually really, really hard to get out of water. And our systems are designed in Japan. So we're a 49-year-old company, been around for 49 years, which is just crazy to me. But they don't have like a heavily fluorinated, they don't fluorinate their water at all. And they don't have as heavily of a medicated society as us. So they weren't designed to remove like residual pharmaceuticals or, you know, even heavy metals. So what we do is we make sure everyone has a pre-filter that we gift with the purchase. And then your water's nice and clean. And then after it's clean, it goes through the ionization process, which then turns that clean water into living, structured, hydrogen-rich water, which is even more healthy. So I tell people, it's like, you're almost like activating your water. So it's like transcending clean water. So we're starting with clean water. Well, we start with water. I wish, even though water is my business, I wish that people didn't have to pay for water. Like, it makes me mad that people have to pay for water. It makes me mad that like humans have went and destroyed something so amazing. Like, there's a spring that's only like an hour from here that I have so many friends that used to go and fill up all these jugs of water, and they used to go there like weekly and fill up water, and they love the water so much. They come to find out, like a year after they had been doing that, the city was treating the spring. Like, why are you dumping things into our natural, like, our water is just, it's something that, like, unfortunately, it's like we have to, as consumers, be paying attention to what we're buying when we're buying water. And if you're just using your tap water, like, just know that it's like basically you're drinking your neighbor's prescription, because none of that stuff is being filtered out. Pharmaceuticals, none of the heavy metals, it's all bad. So we start with that, which is just gross water typically. And then anything that's coming out of your tap is then being filtered through the pre-filter we give you. And then it goes through an ionizer, which then takes that clean water that we just filtered and turns it into this amazing, like, next level water.
Were you asking what we do for filtering as well?
Yeah, I just know when you're talking about off-grid living, you know, water is a big issue. We have 3 water sources, right? We got a well, we got rainwater, we got a pond, blah, blah, blah. And we go through a lot of filtering stuff. And we had this conversation while we were in Georgia. So I knew the answer to it. but if I'm asking it, so is a lot of other people going to be asking it. So I just wanted to basically bring it up: is how do you deal with the filtering of water, and what does the machine do in that? Those kinds of things.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I thought
we
you
do.
I thought you were talking about the Kangen still, but that's a little bit.
I was.
Yeah, we have. If we're pulling from the creek, we'll run it through like a charcoal, sand, and gravel filter that I like made, just like layers of sand, gravel, and charcoal. So it runs through there. Then we'll run it through a 2-stage filter that's like charcoal and something else, like a 0.5 micron filter. And then we ozone it. And then we put it in the RV after that. And then the RV's got its own like inline filter that filters everything. And then we have the pre-filter on our sink before it goes into the Kangen. So it hits quite a few filters.
We take our water seriously, guys. Okay.
Yeah. And then on the other, I did just get a really cool, what's the company? The company's out of Europe, but it's a high flow ceramic filter. So I have 2 sediment filters, 2 like large sediment filters, and then your normal like ceramic filter has those little candlesticks. Well, it's got like 8 candlesticks in this filter, so it can take like a lot more water flow, and we'll still ozone it, and then it still goes through 2 more filters before it gets to our machine.
Yeah, this one was funny. Tamber says, was she like this before she started drinking the water? I just need half of that energy.
No, the sloth and what's that movie? Zootopia. Drank the water and just came alive.
Yeah, well, this is actually what made her and I instant friends, because there's a few people can keep up with me, right? You ask me, like, I'm pretty high level energied, and so it was, we just automatically we were friends just instantly because of it. I don't know, maybe it was that, maybe it was something else, I don't know, but it was super, super cool. The I Am of Me says, I thought this was a funny comment too. I changed it to 1.5 speed, so now I'm all cut up. It's weird listening so speedy. And it was, what was funny about this to me is when we were getting ready to go on stage, the guy that puts on the microphones and all that was asking her, does she want a microphone or a headpiece? And I said to her, and I said to him, give her a headpiece because she's going to be dancing shortly. Yeah. And here's this high energy young girl walking around barefoot. I'm telling you, I can put the pieces together.
Yeah. And do you remember, I don't know if you were in there at that point, Tag, but the lady who was taking the time, she held up a sign to me and said, you're talking really fast. And I was like, talking really fast to who? Because to me, I'm not talking that fast. Oh no, I talk anyways. I'm like, I think some of y'all just need to listen faster, okay? Because this is really good stuff, and maybe you're listening too slow.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get back to this Kangen thing just real quick, guys. If anybody wants to go check them out, there's the website right there. I've linked it in there. I've linked everything in the description down below. And like we always talk about, the art to creating that parallel society is we got to figure out ways to do business together and out of the system. We just did the best that we can, that we can do. But I've got all kinds of questions up in here. My buddy Spags said, which you will meet him when we get to Tennessee. Bobby Spags from Spags Unfiltered. He said, you guys had me at Drawbridge and Moat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, here's the one I was looking for right here. It says, are hempcrete structures difficult to keep warm in cold climates?
Keep warm? No, they hold the temperature really well inside and out. It's more of a consistent temperature. Although it's breathable, you're talking about like when it's going through, it's not like you can feel a breeze. Like the walls are breathable, but they're exchanging air really slowly, and it goes. The R value still holds up. It's a little over R 2.5 per inch that you do, so you can kind of make your wall according to whatever environment you're in, but it'll keep the cold air out and the warm air in. Like it won't. It's not. I know you say breathable, and it's like people think it just kind of like you have a fire and it like just dissipates. No, it'll hold all that. But we were in Texas close to summer, and it was actually like once we got the walls and the roof on, like you go in the structure and it felt nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got someone joined us, my crooked little homestead. Now you guys don't know who this is, but we call her the Terminator in our community because she's up in Canada, and she hand cuts all of her own wood, drags water from the creek in Canada all year round. Yeah, so she's kind of like the Godfather.
Yeah.
Of doing it yourself.
Yeah. So Lucy, hello Lucy, how are you? Yeah, which is really, really cool. Hey, I'm really interested in learning more about this water thing as thing goes on. And, maybe what we should do one of these times is when you have more battery life, but let's take it's all good. Let's take another live sometime where you can just really dive deep into it, because I would love to share it with my entire community and get them to, figure out how to connect with you, to answer questions and to do those things. Cause I'm all about it,
And show us how big it is.
Yeah. Show us how big it is.
Can we fit it under the sink?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, there actually is an under the sink model. So the one I have goes on top of my counter because I like to go around and bring it with me, like when I go travel and stuff. So even though we're homesteaders, I still am in love with all the places I've never been. So I still, every once in a while, I tell Ryan, I'm like, but Ecuador, can we go? And he's like, I'm building a castle. Like, stop. He's still for a minute. And I'm like, but so, so I take my Kangen system. I've taken it to Mexico, Costa Rica, Puerto Rico. In the last 2 years, I've taken it to those 3 places alone. And then also whenever I travel, I plug it up into my, even if I'm in a hotel and all they have is a bathroom sink, I'll put it under my bathroom sink. So everywhere I go, like I'm telling you guys, I went for a long time being chronically, severely dehydrated with low energy. So when people say, has she always had this energy? No, I used to have low energy and I used to be like very lethargic, and my kids would be like, Mom, play. And I'd be like, oh, I got, some days, not all days, but when you start drinking really good water and you hydrate your body to the point where like most people don't even know what it feels like to be fully hydrated. When you feel that, you never want to go back. So like I have the over the counter one just because I know I can bring it with me. If you get the counter one, it's just more of a permanent. It's not permanent. You can take it out, but it's not easy. Like you don't just like unplug it and take it with you. Like I have, it's like very easy. Yeah. But yeah, I would love that tag. And I love how you're so supportive. And I think that's amazing. And that's what it's all about. So anytime I will make sure that my battery's charged.
So you're going to speak. Are you speaking at Self-Reliance Festival
in Georgia?
No, I'm oh, sorry, B, were you saying something?
No, you guys are going to Tennessee?
Yeah, at the Self-Reliance. I'm helping Nicole do the MC of the virtual. I'm not even 100% sure my role yet. I know I'm MCing virtually. So we'll be there doing some stuff, but I don't know what I'll be doing yet, but I won't be speaking.
Yeah, so you're going to actually introduce the speakers.
Yes, but only for the virtual aspect of it, not on. I don't think I'll be doing it like on stage. Oh. So I guess she's selling tickets for people to watch live stream.
Okay.
Online. So she's going to be probably introducing the next online person. She'll be online.
Oh yeah, this was an interesting question. Have you guys used this water on any like plants or crops?
Yeah, she said she on her melons.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
It does really. We've used it for like starts and stuff.
Yeah.
We have some people that use it. I don't know. Have you ever seen that tower garden?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have some people that we know down the road that use it in their tower garden and have good success with it.
Yeah, we've done side-by-side starts where we're just using like regular water and then we're using our Kangen water to see if the starts pop up, and they do. They actually pop up a few days early. There's a lot of growers. It's actually really, really huge in the ganja world. Lots of growers out there that have Kangen systems. They typically tend to get the soup, which is the commercial one. So it's not the same one that I have because it creates a really high amount of 2.5, which is hypochlorous acid. And if you know anything about growing, like they actually go and they buy tons and tons and tons of hypochlorous acid. So we actually have a system that creates it. So you don't have to pay for it. All you do is you add water and you add a little mixture and you add it to your system, and then it creates hypochlorous acid. So it saves the people a ton of money. Like people
cut the herbicides out, cut the pesticides out,
all of it. And then you can be, for those who really want to be like fully organic, but still feel like they need something because there's still something, eating their crop or whatever. Yeah. So
and you had mentioned to me I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just looking at you.
Okay. You had mentioned to me when we were in Georgia about how these are used in Japan in the medical system, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what they were created for. So in Japan, 49 years ago, they were created. So we actually have one of our models. It actually looks like a medical device because that's what it was made for. So they started using it in a hospital setting, and we have a ton of studies that show there's like a whole bunch of disease processes that it has been shown to be healthy for. And diabetes is one of them. I don't remember all of them, but there was like 3 or 4 like this.
Diabetes.
And then since then, back then, even 49 years ago, nobody really understood that it was the molecular hydrogen that was doing so many amazing things in the body. They thought it was like the alkaline properties of it because it does create certain pHs. But then as more and more research came out, they started realizing like, oh, it's actually molecular hydrogen that's having all of these benefits because it's reducing oxidative stress in the body, and oxidative stress can cause a lot of damage. So and they still currently use them in hospitals in Japan to this date, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, super cool. Do you have any other questions you wrote down? You were writing stuff.
Is all of this information on your website?
No, not all of it. I have like webinars and stuff that I've hosted. So I can send video to anybody who has like, I have webinars that I've done. I have one webinar that a lot of people, and B, maybe I'll send this one to you. It's called H2 If You Only Knew, and it's all about molecular hydrogen. The whole thing is about how it's created in our machines, how it works, and all the stuff. And then there's also one called The Amazing Science of Living Structured Water. And then, I've done a whole bunch of like video webinars, but the website is fairly new and I haven't, we have a lot of progress out here on the property, but when it comes to like online stuff, my progress is like I'm not as.
Yeah. Well, send me the ones that you can. And that way, if anybody wants them, then we can forward them on. And then also, I think we do need to do maybe a webinar for us.
Yeah, because I could get a lot of the community here involved, and we could put something on, or maybe we could have you guys down to the Midwest Preparedness Project, and you could show it.
We could film it.
Yes,
film them.
Yeah, we
At
could.
the Midwest Preparedness.
Yeah. I mean, I think all of those things are good. Hey, Johnny, who's again, he's a regular, been on lots and lots and lots of the lives, and that wants to know, do you have a channel? And I've already said, Johnny, if you were paying attention, young man, that I put the links underneath in the description. But you guys go ahead and tell us, where do they find you guys?
I probably hang out mostly on Facebook and Instagram, and then Ryan hangs out mostly on YouTube. So he's starting to upload stuff. So the biggest thing for Ryan is I'm always like, Ryan, this stuff is so awesome what we're doing, but he doesn't like to stop to make content. So he's always like, I'm like, I gotta get a video, and he rolls his eyes at me. I'm like, babe, but it's cool, like, because I want to inspire people. But he's been getting.
So I've been getting better. I have some stuff up. I've been kind of time lapsing as I go. And that's YouTube at Forgotten Ways PMA.
Yeah. So that's the best way to find all the stuff that the castle updates. And then on Instagram and stuff, like I still upload stories. I use Instagram a lot for just uploading like day-to-day stuff. So if anybody wants to check that out, or Facebook. So
yeah, and we're definitely going to have them back on, because I think what you guys are doing is awesome. And you guys are living a dream that a lot of people don't understand how to do, or don't know how to start. And I think you guys are a huge mentor for many, many people, along the way, and just, so keep fighting that fight for sure. And yeah,
that's what we feel about you guys. So thank you.
Yeah, for sure. What's that? Yeah. By the way, have you guys been on freesteading yet? You should come over there and hook up with me on freesteading.
It's so funny because I was literally just about to say that after I said, oh, Facebook, so we did just to get an account.
Okay.
But I haven't done. Yes. I'm like, yeah, I got an account. And I would love to have you guys on to talk about freesteading. I feel like there's a whole bunch of people that I know that would love to connect on the platform. So I haven't really, I'll be honest. I'm like, I need to go on there and so I do have it. I just need to explore it more. So I'll do that. And I feel like I'd love to get on there.
I'll come on your channel anytime, any place, anywhere. You just tell me. It doesn't matter. I'm in 100% of the time. So are you guys going to have a booth at Self-Reliance Festival?
I don't think so. We haven't. Oh, you know what? I might try to get a Kangen booth there. Kangen water booth.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
I think I should. But nothing is in plan yet. But you just gave I think we should. I kind of talked to Nicole a little bit about it. But I just didn't know what her setup was going to be like with how much water she was going to have available for me to be able to hook into. So I think that was what it was. But yeah, I'm going to bring that back up. So thanks for reminding me on that.
Yep, of course. Hey, Tiger wants to know, what is freesteading? So, hey, just real quick. So a freesteading is a social media platform designed around off-grid ass kickers, just like these people right here. And full of homesteaders and off-gridders.
Not
and
necessarily always off-grid.
Not always, but sometimes there are people trying to get more free. But this is why we called it freesteading. Yep. Because I think all prepping leads to homesteading, and all homesteading leads to freesteading as we try to get off matrix, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
And so that's why we named it, what we named it. But we'd love to see people over there for sure. And, the more we grow, the more we get to, connect. What's neat about it is there's state pages. So you can just go to your state. Everybody's in there, and you can chit chat and connect and share information and meet up and trade and barter and whatever it is you want to do. And best of all, it's all free.
Super awesome. Yeah, that's what we need. We need to be connecting with other homesteaders that are like if we are building out this parallel society, we need to know who our people are that are near us, so that when and if, and you know, like you said, supporting our neighbors and being like just know who we are, you know. I put up a post earlier today about coming on here today because I was so excited here, and it's like, you know, there's that saying that's like, you know, you are a sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And so that's why I was like, I can't wait to hang out with Tag and B, because like I'm so inspired by you guys. And so it's like freesteading, like that's what I'm excited to get into there. It's like being around all these other homesteaders who are doing all the things that you want to do. Like you kind of start to like, you can't help but like start taking action when you see all these people that you're surrounding yourself with that are just doing what you want to do. And so I think it's so important for people to be hanging out in those platforms, especially because the ones that we were just talking about are not, they're run by the people that we're trying to get away from. I mean, we can still use those platforms to further our own, you know, inspiration to other people and whatever. But like really, when we're building out systems, like this is beautiful what you guys have done. You've provided a platform for us to be able to go, which is so we're in awe of both of you guys. We think you're amazing. That when you said, would you come on live with us? I was like, yeah, like, thank you for offering, because it's amazing what you guys are doing. And so thank you for even just wanting to be on here with us. Like we think you guys are so cool, and super excited to see you in Tennessee. B, I wish you were coming. I
gotta attend the homestead.
I know.
And nobody does it the way I want it done.
Right. I hear that. I definitely.
Yeah. Well, and Ryan, thank you very much for stopping working, because I know what that is.
Yes.
I know exactly what it is, you know, and every 5 minutes there's something else you got to go do, and you're just trying to get that one thing built.
Yeah.
So I relate. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here, but hey, listen, thank you very much. There's the link for KangenWaterCollective.com. And there's a few people on here who said they're going to go check it out. So guys, go check it out. Let's support these like-minded people, and we're going to have these people back, and I'm going to go on there, and we're going to continue down this journey. So this is just step one of, I hope, very, very many.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you guys. Hold the line. Don't give an inch.
Be out.
Bye.
See you guys.